the headlines of VTV News. National Assembly Chairman of Vietnam continues his official visit to China. Final section of the North-South Express Phase 1 to be opened to traffic. And later on in our world news, efforts made to prevent Israel attacking Rafah.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello there, this is VTV News coming live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh received visiting Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher, the Vatican Secretary for Relations with States and International Organizations, in Hanoi on Wednesday. The Prime Minister noted this visit has important significance for the Vietnamese Catholic community, as well as actively developing relationship between Vietnam and the Holy See. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said that Vietnam is a multi-religious country with 27 million religious followers, accounting for 27% of the country's population, in which the Catholic community has more than 7.2 million parishioners. He affirmed that the party and state of Vietnam consistently implement policies to respect and ensure freedom of belief and religion of the people, with an increasingly perfect system of policies and laws on belief and religion, ensuring legal corridor for religious activities. Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher expressed his delight with the good development of bilateral relations and thanked the Vietnamese authorities for continued support for the activities of the Holy See representative in Vietnam. He believed that with mutual understanding and sincere dialogue as shared by the Prime Minister, the relations between Vietnam and the Holy See will continue to improve. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh received Brazilian Foreign Minister Maro Vieira during his official visit to Vietnam. The Prime Minister highlighted the strong development of bilateral relations between the two countries. He proposed that Brazil promptly recognize Vietnam's market economy status and collaborate with other members of the South American Common Market to initiate negotiations on the free trade agreement between Vietnam and the bloc. Additionally, he suggested enhancing the legal framework to bolster cooperation in economics, trade, and investment, aiming to elevate bilateral trade turnover to $10 billion by 2025 and $15 billion by 2030. He also suggested deepening cooperation in agriculture, clean energy, science and technology, innovation, education, and culture. The Brazilian Foreign Minister extended an invitation from President Lula da Silva for Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh to attend the G20 summit in Brazil, scheduled for November this year. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh accepted the invitation, expressing his keen interest in the summit's agenda. Continuing his official visit to China, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ visited Shanghai on Wednesday. Accompanying him was Vice Chair of the National People's Congress of China Standing Committee, Wang Dongming.
National Assembly Chairman of Vietnam expressed his delight to visit Shanghai, the most populous city in China that leads the country in innovation and reform. Particularly, the city has applied unique models in lawmaking. A notable one is the Hongqiao Legislative Center that the Vietnamese top legislator visited as part of his official trip to China. Here, he held a discussion with intellectuals, lawyers, party unit secretaries and representatives of local people on the work of lawmaking. He shared Vietnam's experience in lawmaking and affirmed that all policies and laws promulgated must come from the will and aspirations of the people.
Vietnam's National Assembly's motto is that social life must be reflected in laws, so that laws can be practical. During the legislative process in Vietnam, we disclose draft laws on social platforms to gather public opinions. We have revised the land law, gathering over 12 million opinions for this draft law. We request agencies to collect, explain and research any opinions from people, businesses, and National Assembly deputies.
Vice Chair of the National People's Congress of China Standing Committee Wang Dongming affirmed that the discussion vividly demonstrated the bilateral legislative cooperation is being strengthened. He hoped that Vietnam's National Assembly and People's Councils at all levels and the National People's Congress and local People's Congress of China will continue to cooperate and share more experiences with each other.
Later in the afternoon, National Assembly Chairman Nguyen met with Shanghai Party Secretary Chen Jining. The Vietnamese top legislator affirmed that Vietnam is willing to support and create conditions to strengthen friendly and cooperative relations between the two countries. He proposed Shanghai create conditions for Vietnamese goods to enter the Shanghai market and East China region. He hoped that Shanghai would create favorable conditions, support, and provide incentives for Vietnamese businesses to participate in trade fairs held in the city. He also expected that the two sides will increase sharing and exchange of experiences in urban development and management, innovation, investment attraction, finance, and currency. Shanghai Party Secretary Chen Jining affirmed that Shanghai values friendly cooperation with Vietnamese localities and is willing to share with Vietnam its experiences in urban construction and social management. Also on the same day, National Assembly Chairman Nguyen attended the Legal Policy Forum on promoting investment and trade ties with China. He suggested several directions to further promote the potential and strengths of developing ties with China, thus making economic, trade and investment cooperation the pillars of cooperation between the two sides.
In his speech, the top Vietnamese legislator said that the participation of numerous businesses of both countries affirms the willingness to promote cooperation of the both sides. He shared his positive impression on the strong and dynamic development of Shanghai and Chinese businesses. The National Assembly leader pointed out factors for both nations to strengthen collaboration. This includes both countries having open economies with exports playing an important role, capacity to adapt to international trade principles, and the two economies being compatible, interconnected, and complementary. He noted that firms from the two countries have full legal framework and favorable conditions to connect trade and work together in order to become important links in regional and global supply chains. The National Assembly chairman said that Shanghai is a leading locality in terms of reform, opening process, finance and investment attraction policies, innovation and free trade in China.
We hope that Chinese investors will increase cooperation, transfer technology, improve production capacity of Vietnamese enterprises, and help them participate further in global value chains. In addition, we expect the two countries to enhance cooperation mechanisms between the two governments, associations, businesses, and localities, promoting each country's strengths in the new context. We hope that Shanghai will strengthen relations with Ho Chi Minh City and other localities in Vietnam. We recommend both countries' agencies improve customs clearance efficiency to minimize trade congestion at border gates.
At the forum, Vietjet Air celebrated the 10th anniversary of opening flights to China and announced the opening of direct flights connecting Ho Chi Minh City with Xi'an. This is expected to expand trade between Ho Chi Minh City and the northwest region of China, contributing to cooperative relations between the two countries.
Also on Wednesday, National Assembly Chairman Nguyen met with several large corporations in Shanghai. Receiving TCL CEO Wang Cheng, the National Assembly Chairman praised the group's idea of establishing a supply chain in the country. Meeting the chair of a Thiên Nang Battery Group, the Vietnamese top legislator hoped that the group's project to produce kinetic batteries and storage batteries in Vietnam would soon come into operation. Talking to the chair of a Tax Home Group, He welcomed the group to expand investment in various fields in Vietnam. He affirmed that the government and the National Assembly of Vietnam regularly listen to foreign investors' opinions to build mechanisms on the development and diversification of energy types. Receiving the chair of ZTE Corporation, the National Assembly chairman asked the group to support Vietnam in perfecting the digital ecosystem, training high-quality human resources, and improving the capacity of service users. Meeting the leader of Pacific Construction Group, he welcomed the signing of a memorandum of agreement for the two projects between the group and Hanoi. The presidents of the Solidarity Front for the Development of Cambodian Motherland, the Lao Front for National Construction, and the Vietnam Fatherland Front gathered at their fifth conference in Vientiane on Tuesday. The presidents of the three-country front agreed to continue promoting communication, especially with the younger generation, about the long-standing tradition of solidarity between the people of three countries. The VFF delegation was received by General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party Central Committee and President of Laos Thongloun Sisolit and Lao Prime Minister Sonexay Siphandone. President of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee Do Văn Chiến affirmed that the party, state, and people of Vietnam are determined to preserve, nurture, and develop the great friendship between Vietnam and Laos. The Lao leaders noted that the three countries need to continue working closely together, boosting information and experience sharing, and assisting one another to strengthen relations among the three countries in general and Vietnam-Laos relations in particular. The Vietnam Connect 2024 Forum is themed Vietnam moving towards a green, sustainable economy, from strategies and policies of the government to business initiatives and solutions. The Green Forum took place in Hai Phong on Wednesday. The forum centered on emerging trends in the green economy, low-carbon initiatives, and achieving a net-zero economy. It showcased the ongoing green transformation efforts of localities, economic sectors, and businesses in Vietnam. Deputy Prime Minister Trần Hồng Hà attended the event and underscored the importance of embracing these trends, asserting that prioritizing green transformation would drive innovation, competitiveness, and growth across industries. He emphasized that the success of the green revolution hinges on active international collaboration, supportive government policies, and decisive actions at the local level. Coming up next, final section of the North-South Expressway Phase 1 to be open to traffic. And Vietnam plans sustainable development of fisheries sector.
When it comes to business, it's crucial to choose a smart location with global impact. And Vietnam might just be the location for you. Connect worldwide to advanced logistics networks. Smart hub for technology and innovation. A dynamic business ecosystem. An environment with a competitive edge.
Welcome back to VTV News. The largest data center in Vietnam was inaugurated on Wednesday by Viettel Military Industry and Telecoms Group. The center is the 14th facility in Viettel's network. This cutting-edge center boasts a high capacity, housing an impressive 60,000 servers, and is specifically tailored to cater to the evolving demands of the development of artificial intelligence. This data center is committed to utilizing renewable energy sources, ensuring that 30% of its electricity consumption is sustainably generated. Additionally, it guarantees unparalleled security with a 5-layer physical safety protocol, the highest safety standard to date. According to the provisions of the telecommunications law, data of state agencies must be stored in Vietnam, so data centers will play an important role in protecting personal data in Vietnam. On the North-South Expressway, Ho Chi Minh City, Nha Trang and Hanoi, Vinh have the largest traffic volume. Currently, these two expressway sections on the North-South route are expected to be opened on April the 30th. Construction sites are currently at maximum speed to ensure projects are completed on time.
The progress of bridges, tunnels and asphalt pavement has basically been controlled. The North-South Expressway project in Diễn Châu Bãi Vọt section is currently at the final stages to prepare for traffic opening on April the 30th.
There are construction days lasting from 18 to 20 hours. We are using successive construction method to complete the entire route on April 25th.
Currently, only the intersection of National Highway 7A and National Highway 46B in Nguyen District, Nguyen Province still has quite a large volume. This is the decisive point for the overall progress of the project.
We have gathered the most experienced people to coordinate with investors and contractors. Regarding disbursement, previously we have one payment per month. Now we pay 2 times per month so that the contractors have capital to put into the project.
The Diễn Châu Bãi Vọt section of the North-South Expressway Project's Phase 1 is invested in the form of public-private partnership.
We have currently formed industrial parks, urban areas, and tourism services associated with the expressway. This is based on the development plan of Nguyen Province that approved by the Prime Minister.
The completion of 2 expressway sections, Cam Lâm Vĩnh Hảo and Diễn Châu Bãi Vọt, will have more than 2,000 kilometers of expressways put into operation. This not only solves traffic problems, but also increases the competitiveness of the economy.
Vietnam is making efforts to control the number of fishing vessels and developing a sustainable seafood industry while fighting against illegal, unreported and unregulated or IUU fishing. This requires clear changes from localities to quickly remove the yellow card. Recently, 28 coastal provinces undertook efforts to prevent IUU violations as effectively as possible.
Since the beginning of this year, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province has reviewed the issuance of numbers to manage nearly 600 ships that have long been unregistered with no fishing license. For ship owners like Dinh, this is a huge change.
When I go to the sea, they will know my boat. Back then there was no visible license plate.
The number of fishing vessels installed with voyage monitoring equipment across the country has reached 100%, and electronic logging is being implemented. Ships losing connection for 6 hours will be reported to ship owners, thereby preventing the risk of crossing maritime boundaries.
If there is a fishing vessel that violates the IUU, the regulated fishing port and local government must take responsibility.
This is a ship operating in open areas, but because it does not have to install cruise monitoring equipment, there is a risk of IUU violations.
We hope that the Ministry of National Defense will pay attention and direct support to the provinces in escorting fishing vessels that intentionally violate the IUU.
We will implement 2 new government decrees on fishing vessel registration. Unregistered fishing vessels are not included in the monitoring management system and do not have navigation equipment attached.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development also proposed that there needs to be the participation of the entire political system in preventing IUU violations.
A cash relief package for people affected by drought and saltwater intrusion in Cà Mau province has just been launched by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in coordination with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in Vietnam. More than 1,000 households in U Minh, Trần Văn Thời and Thới Bình districts will receive cash support in 2 installments. The first installment will be in April and the second in May, with a total amount of over $216,000. For households with 3 or more people, the support is $240. The program focuses on cash distribution activities and raising community awareness about the economical use of water in daily life and production. The United Nations Economic and Social Council, or ECOSOC, on Tuesday, U.S. time, elected Vietnam to be the executive board of the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women, or UN Women. Accordingly, from January 2025 to the end of 2027, Vietnam will participate in coordinating the building and implementation of major orientations of the UN Women and ensuring that the agency's strategies and activities are consistent with the UN's overall goals and policies on promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. Vietnam will also take part in the process of approving the agency's plans and programs, as well as its administrative, financial, and budgetary decisions. Encouraging outstanding individuals, young intellectuals, and laborers from ethnic groups to return to their local communities has helped many hardship areas in the Central Highlands overcome poverty and prosper. Along with that, the living standards of locals have also improved. Our story in the Central Highland province of Đắk Lắk.
After graduating from university, Thang decided to return to his home village in Expressway commune to establish his agricultural cooperative. Over the past 3 years, he and 150 other Dao ethnic households have joined forces to develop a sustainable coffee production for export, with a raw material area covering 210 hectares.
The joint efforts of cooperative members encourage us to commit to producing high-quality coffee.
In the past, coffee plantations yielded only 1.5 to 2 tons per hectare. However, productivity has now increased to 3 to 3.5 tons per hectare. The cooperative buys each kilogram of fresh coffee at a rate of 4,000 to 5,000 Vietnam dong higher than the market rate. Thanks to that, Dao ethnic households now earn a stable annual income, ranging from 4,000 to 12,000 US dollars.
When the ripening rate of coffee branches increases, the quality of raw coffee also improves.
Cooperatives provide farmers with scientific and technological advances that are beneficial to the production process. For farmers who are not familiar with these cutting-edge production techniques, they can still enjoy economic efficiency when participating in these collective economic models.
The Expressway Sustainable Agricultural Cooperative, led by young Dao intellectuals, has been progressively transforming traditional farming methods, thereby improving the farmers' living standards. These Dao youths also inspire the locals to overcome poverty sustainably.
Coming up next, efforts made to prevent Israel attacking Rafah. And France unveils new Paris travel rules ahead of Olympics. The international community is promoting efforts to prevent an Israeli attack on the city of Rafah, southern Gaza Strip, the last refuge of about 1.4 million Palestinians. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the U.S. is arranging a negotiation with Israel next week about the possibility of Israel conducting a military operation in Rafah. Also, according to Blinken, the U.S. has not received any notification about a specific time. However, any military action is unlikely to happen before officials on both sides conduct discussions. Blinken expressed concern about the dangerous consequences for the people in Rafah if Israel conducts any large-scale military operations in this city. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio is visiting the U.S. to discuss a variety of important issues, including cooperation between the two countries in the field of semiconductors. He mentioned that the Japanese Semiconductor Chip Manufacturing Corporation Rapidus cooperated with the U.S.-based multinational computer technology corporation IBM to promote research and development of new generation chips. The Japanese government said it will continue to provide support for TSMC Semiconductor Corporation to build a second semiconductor factory in Kumamoto province, which will be a facility to produce semiconductors ranging in size from 6 to 7 nanometers, much more advanced than the 40 nanometer technology that Japan can currently produce. France will control traveling in large areas of central Paris for most people a week before the opening of the 2024 Summer Olympics. This is the announcement made by French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin on Wednesday. According to the plan, police will set up a large anti-terrorism area along the Seine River, where athletes will travel by boat during the opening ceremony on July the 26th. About 20,000 households in the area will have to register QR codes with authorities to be granted access rights. This regulation also applies to people coming here to work and tourists booking hotel rooms for renting apartments. The Paris metro system remains open except for about 15 stations in anti-terrorism zones. This area will be narrowed after the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. Hydras, an underwater drone, is utilizing AI to investigate coral reefs. Marine scientists will use Hydras for precise and frequent surveys to understand the impact of climate change on the world's largest reef ecosystem, the Great Barrier Reef. More on the following.
Australia's Great Barrier Reef has been hit by a major coral bleaching event, usually triggered by warmer ocean waters. With the help of Hydras, marine scientists aim to conduct more accurate and regular surveys to better understand the impacts of climate change on the world's most extensive reef ecosystem.
Traditionally, we've done this with dive teams. However, dive teams can only see so much and go so far, and that's where we've had to augment our survey methods to include the use of robotics, just to enable us to scale, to go deeper, to operate in areas where predators like crocodiles and bull sharks and jellyfish now routinely reside.
Operating fully autonomously, Hydras has a range of roughly 5.5 miles for up to 3 hours. It can go as deep as 10,000 feet underwater and capture video with a 4K camera. The drone, developed by Advanced Navigation, also has an acoustic modem, forward-facing sonar, and AI-powered navigation.
We're working on coral mapping with the Australian Institute of Marine Science, and what they're trying to do is map areas of coral to detect change within those areas, which they can then use to extrapolate and model the entire reef. We have AI sensors on board that are taking things like the camera feed in, and then they're able to make smart decisions.
Stretching more than 1,400 miles along Australia's northeastern coast, the Great Barrier Reef has seen 6 localised bleaching events since 1998. Bleaching is triggered by warmer ocean waters, which cause corals to expel the colourful algae living in their tissues and turn white. A bleached coral can recover if waters cool, but if ocean temperatures remain high for longer periods, it will die.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.